Hello, welcome to Big Bang Radio Spotlights. This is a show where we talk to independent artists from all around the world all about their music and their process for making it. I'm your host, Isaac Anderson, and today I get to sit down with the band The Staves. Without any further ado, here's the interview. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. I've been very, very excited to talk to you because I love your music, and I think you guys have some of the coolest tunes around right now. I've been jamming to you guys for a while, and we're going to get into the details of all of that in just a bit. But I want to start at the beginning of your musical journey, just like I do with all the other artists that we talk to here. So I wanted to ask you, what is your earliest musical memory?
I would have to say probably my dad playing the guitar in the house when we were kids. He had a Spanish guitar, and he'd get home from work still in his suit and play the guitar as soon as he got home. And I think that's probably my earliest musical memory.
What was your musical upbringing like? Were your parents fully full musicians and trying to put you guys in music lessons? Or I imagine they were very very encouraging to you, but did they play music a lot too, or is that just something that you kind of developed as you guys got older?
Yeah, they were both very musical, and there was always music in the house, whether it was something that they were listening to or something that they were actually playing. And my dad plays guitar and piano, and so he'd always be singing, and my mum would always be singing harmonies with him. They were never professional musicians and never did any shows or anything like that, but they were just musical people. So I think that because of that singing around the house, we would always sing along. And I think it just started, just by growing up with it, really. That was the way in for us. And I think they kind of forced us to do some music lessons at school. I remember there was a clarinet that I played at one point, and the other guys were playing flute and piano, but it didn't last very long. I think I was just way more interested in learning guitar.
When did you guys actually decide to start performing as the Staves?
It was, I think our first gig we ever did was in 2004, which makes me feel very old now. And that was in our local pub. And I guess, as I was saying, we were kind of doing it, singing at home together just for fun, and didn't really have any ambition to kind of be a band. We had a vague dream, imagine if one day we were in a band and we were famous, but it certainly wasn't something that we were actually focusing on trying to do. We were busy, just being in school and going to uni and the kind of usual things that you're doing when you're a teenager. But we had friends who were musical and who were in bands locally, and I think they just kind of kept saying, you guys have to do something, you have to do something. So eventually we kind of reluctantly were like, okay, we'll do some open mics. And then as soon as we started doing it, it just was working really well. And we kind of realized that I think there was something to it more than just fun. So the first gig was back in 2004.
Steady, steady, steady. The steady touch I love so much. Sleepless. Promised you that I'd never let you down. Oh, but I couldn't love you any less than I do now. And I'm a good
Something I've really noticed about your music is it's not only great singing and musicianship, but it's also really, really engaging lyricism. You guys are really wonderful storytellers, especially in this new album. I've listened to it so many times, and a lot of those songs almost move me to tears just because I know you have a lot of personal things that have gone into those lyrics, and it really moves me, especially a song like Good Woman. It just really makes me feel something. When you guys write, specifically the lyrics, but just all your songs in general, do you guys tend to write individually and then bring them to each other, or do you guys tend to get in a room together and let's write something, all three of us in this room right now?
Yeah, I think the songwriting, it kind of changes song to song. There are songs where one person will maybe have an idea and we'll get together and kind of build it up from the ground up as a trio. And then there are other songs that come much more just from one person, and we kind of get in at the end and maybe, work on the arrangement together and work out the harmonies, obviously, and kind of stavesify it, and make it, a song that's for this project rather than somebody's solo thing. It works differently with each song, really. I think on this record in particular, we were at a distance from one another. So Camilla was living in the States and Emily and myself were living over here in England. So we weren't together. And that was like the first time that we'd actually been apart for a long period of time. So we were sending each other ideas, emailing kind of GarageBand demos and stuff like that. So a lot of the songs are written either kind of one person just wrote the song and then we'd get together in the studio and kind of make it work for everyone. Or it was kind of this sort of patchwork process of kind of gluing together different ideas that had kind of travelled, I guess, across the ocean and kind of, kind of made their way onto the record.
Well, what's a typical day for you like, Jessica? Do you tend to have music kind of like you have time for music set aside in your day, or is it just like, is it just kind of more sporadic? I don't know. What's a typical day for you like?
Yeah, a normal day. I mean, there's always just kind of, if you're not on tour, I'm often just enjoying being able to be at home, I guess sort of frantically running around London, going to meetings. And the creativity is kind of like you said, it's a little sporadic, which I kind of enjoy the unknown factor to that for sure. But sometimes it's like, you do need to kind of make time to like, I'm going to sit all day for a week and just write. Otherwise, time does kind of run away with you.
Well, I think you've earned a little time off because you just put out this album, and for those that don't know, the album's called Good Woman, and it was produced by John Congleton, who's been producing a lot of really awesome music lately. What was it like recording that record, and what does that album mean to you? Because it's some very, very personal songs in there. I don't know, what does this album mean to you?
I think that the album has captured quite a long period of time. We started writing some of these songs, a few years ago, as we were kind of living our life, and so it captures a long period of time. And so to finally kind of be able to, I guess, close that chapter and then finally release it out into the world feels very freeing. And sometimes you kind of need to come full circle with something in order to kind of move on to the next thing. And with the pandemic, the release date was pushed back as everyone didn't know what was going on and what the future was going to look like. So at one point it was it was uncertain when it was even going to come out, and it was like, this has to come out. This has been so long now. So it means an awful lot to all of us, and I think it's I'm always the most proud of the thing that we're working on currently. So I think it's my fave.
I imagine the album sounds killer on vinyl. That's just I can only imagine. I haven't got the vinyl yet, but I'm probably going to be getting it pretty soon, just because I think it sounds great. Well, again, the album's out on streaming and your website now. And if people want to keep up with you online, how can they find you?
We're on all the usual places. If you go to our website, to thestaves.com, it gives you all the links to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So you can find us. We're there. We're very much there.
Heard that. Well, Jessica, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. I can see the love of music just coming through the screen right now. And tell your sisters we said hi. But before we go, I got one more question for you. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a Big Bang Radio spotlight before, but I'm a musician, but I also love film. And I believe musicians have a really soft spot for films, and I believe the two worlds are not too far away from each other. So I ask all the artists before they go, what is your favorite movie?
Oh, wow. It's really hard to choose because I have loads, but a movie that I still love to this day and had a massive impact on me when I was a teenager is Cameron Crowe's Almost Famous.
It's an awesome film.
Yeah.
Thanks to the Staves for sitting down with me and talking all about their music. If you guys want to see more interviews just like this, you can go to facebook.com/Studio67NCC, our new YouTube, Studio67NCC, or you can find us on Instagram at Studio67NCC. Thank you all for watching. I'm Isaac Anderson, and until next time, stay lovely.